Today, Q lets us know whether Trey Gowdy will be nominated to the Supreme Court. Also, we talk about Antifa and how they disrupted a march for prayer in Portland where the police had to declare a riot. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, every episode I start by saying thank you to every one of my viewers or subscribers. Without you guys, this channel wouldn't work. So if you guys haven't hit that subscribe button already, please come here to the landing page. Click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified, because as soon as information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, let's jump right into the latest Q posts. These are pretty important ones. I mean, all Q posts basically at this point are getting more and more filled with information. But these two next posts we're going to cover are filled with inspiration. And the first is a special message from Q+. Now, we haven't really decided, I guess, who Q+ is. It could be Q+ others that are in the Q collective, or it could be Q+ as in a higher ranking official. I have, speculated in the past that it could possibly even be President Trump himself, even though it would seem that President Trump has contributed, but when he did, I think there was no signature. And another time they used like the 4, 10, 20 thing, which, if you look at that in correlation, those numbers with the letters of the alphabet, the 4th letter being D, the 10th letter being J, and the 20th letter being Trump, that would be what that is. But the speculation on Q+ could be anyone. General Kelly, who knows? But thank you, Q+, for giving us this message saying, play loud, be proud. Gives a link to this YouTube video that is a Ronald Reagan speech that is just one of the most inspirational speeches I've seen. And for time's sake, I'm not going to play the whole video. We've actually covered these videos before on the channel, but I will leave the links to these videos in the description so that you guys can watch them, because there's another one that Q's going to reference in the next one. But and I'll give you even a little taste of it to give you an idea here.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second. Surrender.
So that was just a little teaser for you. It's a really incredible speech. It's a great, well-produced video, well narrated with the content and the pictures and the video and the music. It's good. But it says, fight for what is right, fight for freedom. They will not win. Divide they try, fail they will. Together, where we go one, we go all. Q+. Now, this to me is pretty self-explanatory. I don't really need to cover exactly what this is. These are words of inspiration. They're meant to light a fire under your you-know-whats to get you guys going and say, get out there, be loud about this, be proud about what we're doing here. Don't hide and shudder away from it. Embrace what we're doing here. And it's saying, fight for what is right. So we are fighting for what is right every day. We're fighting for freedom. This is kind of like one of those Yoda-isms kind of from Star Wars, like, they will not win. Divide they try. Fail they will. You know what I mean? So I kind of caught that there, but I thought that was just, it's very inspirational words, and they should go to promote what we do here, and we do it together. And where we do go one, we go all. That is true, truer now than it has been in the past, and I think it's only going to become more and more true as we go forward. So the next post says, Q saying again, you have a choice. The choice has always been yours. Power to the people. They want you divided. They want race wars. They want class wars. They want religious wars. They want political wars. They use the media. They use Hollywood. They use political leaders. They are loud. Groupthink. Public shame against those who challenge slavery. They know what is coming. It is now more clear than ever. Never in our history have they been this exposed. Never in our history have they come out from the shadows to fight. The truth is clearly visible. Defend MS-13, defend the destruction of our borders, promote the fear nuclear war if POTUS remains in office, nuclear alerts malfunction, compare to Hitler Nazis, promote violence, promote hate, promote war, promote economic decline, promote North Korea to end talks with POTUS, promote impeachment for no reason, promote racism, promote fascism, promote riots, form Antifa, violent group designed to instill fear in free speech, hatred for America, sheep follow blindly, they are scared, they are losing control, we knew this day would come. And then it links to this incredibly good video that we've seen. This video will get get Donald Trump elected. It's basically one of his campaign speeches that's just as good as the President Reagan speech. in the sense of its tone and its ability to really get people to come together around the ideas of what our whole movement's based on, which is just truth, equality under the law, and freedom, and making America great. I mean, those things, and I'll add one more. The most important one is living for God, with God, through God, and everything that we do. And I'll give you guys a little teaser of this too. I'll put this link down in the comments or in the description.
Failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment.
So there you go. I want to give you a little snippet, and I'm going to put the links in the description so that they get credit on their channels for you guys going and watching that. So if you guys want to go check it out, I'll put the links down in the description so you can watch those videos. But it says, we planned, we took control over key elements, we stand at the ready, we fight dark to light, God bless America, God bless patriots around the world, think for yourself, trust yourself, courage, together. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for the future security. Be on your guard. Stand firm in the faith. Be courageous. Be strong. Q. Yes, those words are self-evident. And I'm going to start with this because this is what this whole movement's about. This movement is about what our country, the principles on which our country was laid, the principles under which the whole Constitution was designed, the principles of our founding fathers that want us to hold our government accountable, to never forget that we are in control of those who govern us. It is not the other way around. We give them the power to administer laws to us. We give them the power to make executive decisions. We give them the power to make certain changes, but it is our right. It is our right to be governed by those who are deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. And that is us. So without our consent, they can't go forward. And the reality is that as we uncover this information, people want to call us crazy. People want to call us conspiracy nuts. People want to do all types of things. But they're only diverting from the truth that lies right beneath the surface, the truth that would seem to be the glass house we have built in our government, in our institutional structures. Because people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. And I'm telling you right now, the truth will shatter that facade so quickly that it's going to be quite important to remember the power of documents such as these that tell us the meaning of our government. So don't forget that. Government is for the people, by the people, and of the people. And this line to me is what really stands out. It says, Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses, usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for the future security. That's our duty. So going back, we're going to talk about all this really quick. I mean, look, we have the power. They want us divided with all of these things. They're going to use race, they're going to use class, they're going to use religion, they're going to use politics, they're going to use the media, they're going to use Hollywood, they're going to use political leaders. And they have a loud voice, and it's groupthink. It's groupthink. Straight out of 1984, straight out of George Orwell's, writing. It is this monolithic idea that a monolithic group that controls all thought, and they use talking points. And then they pass those talking points along to publicly shame those who challenge, to put us in basically in a form of slavery and bondage where we cannot have a free, open opinion. We will be targeted. I mean, people like Maxine Waters telling the public, her constituency, the American people, to go out and target those that she disagrees with because she has a political disagreement with them. And then to use that and then call for them to be pushed out of the public sphere, not allowed to participate. That is the slavery they're trying to put us into. I mean, there's a reason why they call it the Democrat plantation. But they know, it's fairly obvious here, that they know what is coming. So let me just pull it back up. Excuse me. They know what is coming. It's now more clear than ever. Never in our history. They're very exposed. They're defending MS-13 for crying out loud. They're calling for the destruction of borders, which would basically destroy our country, because without borders, how are you a sovereign nation? They want to promote this war possibility with all types of different actors, because it's a way to basically hurt the president's administration. We have nuclear alerts malfunction in Hawaii. People thought they were going to die. Could you imagine? Could you imagine you wake up one morning and you look at your phone and it says incoming missiles? And that's a reality a lot of people wake up to every day in a lot of parts of the world. And we're very blessed here in America to not have that. But they're using this to scare us. I mean, really, are we having nuclear alerts malfunctions? You don't think there'd be like 100 or million different tests or fail-safes to keep that from happening, as important as that alert would be? Okay. Compare people who support Trump to Hitler and Nazis. It's just, there's no, I don't even like to address that because there's no rebut to it. It's nonsense. It's illogical. It's irrational. It's hate speech, basically. I don't even care. You can call it hate speech. It is hate speech. I don't think that we should ban hate speech, because hate speech is speech, and speech is protected under the First Amendment. But that's what they do to us, and it's fine. It just shows who they are. They promote the violence. They promote hate. They promote war. I mean, look at these people. We have a protest here in Portland where the police had to declare a riot after it was a prayer march that was scheduled to go, and they permitted and everything. It was a bunch of good Trump-supporting, American-loving, God-fearing patriots. And this is what shows up to meet them. What does this look like to you? I mean, this is what we're coming up against, right? They're calling us Nazis. They want this unionized labor force, and they're fascists against fascists. That's basically what it comes down to. And this is the type of people that are showing up. I mean, they're coming. They look like ISIS. They look like terrorists. They look like your atypical, typecast right out of the movie, with their black outfits and their black hats and their goggles and their bats and their fascist flags, or anti-fascist flags, as they like to say, that very much resemble the Communist Party flags of 1933 Germany. But look, this is what it is. And they come out and they ambush this protest, the prayer march. They start a fight. Fight breaks out all over. Police revoke the permit for the march. And then they go and call it a riot. Well, who started the riot? These are anarchists. for the most part. I mean, trust me, I've known a lot of these anti-fascist people, not personally, maybe a few who would know others who are personally involved. And what I've heard and what I've learned about them is that the majority of them are anarchists. They don't believe in law. They just want to see it all burn. And that is the scariest part, is that we're up against people who just want to see it burn because they don't want change. They don't want discussion. They don't want to have a talk with you. They want to target you. They want to make you afraid. They want to call you a racist and make you afraid, even though there's no proof that you or I or anyone else is a racist just because we believe in enforcing laws. We believe in standing up for the Constitution. We believe in being a part of a greater good in our country that fights to make our country great so that we can do great things, not just for ourselves, but for everyone in the world. But they want to tear it all down, and they just want to, they want to make it burn just to see it burn. And that's what we're up against. So don't forget, this battle is going to be one that we have to fight, but we have to fight it in a smart way. We're not going to resort to their tactics. We're going to use our intelligence. We're going to use our words. We're going to use our political discourse. We're going to use all those tools that we know are effective, that we know will bring us out on top. They're scared. They're losing control. They knew this day would come, but we've planned. We've taken control over key elements. We stand at the ready. We fight. We're bringing dark to light. God is blessing America, and God is blessing the patriots around the world. So remember, like Q says here, I think these words are so true. Think for yourself. Trust yourself. Courage and together. That's how we will defeat this. So that's my little message there, my little spiel on that. Now we're going to get into some more great point out, or things being pointed out by Q here. First, he gives us this image that is the previous post from Q. And in this post, it basically goes over all the people who have either resigned or been removed for their dereliction of duty. And mainly people, this is listing people throughout the FBI and the DOJ. Now, these are high-ranking people. I mean, we have people at the highest levels. Peter Strzok, the head of counterintelligence. You have James Baker, general counsel. You have Jim Rubicki, the chief of staff and senior counselor. Andrew McCabe, the deputy director. James Comey, the director of the FBI. Listen, there is so much going on here. And excuse me, no, Bill Priestap was the head of counterintelligence, and Peter Strzok was the deputy assistant director of counterintelligence. But it's saying, and then also the CEO departures. And is it all conspiracy? Is it all fake news? The swamp is being drained, and we need to trust the plan. But it's giving us a list of all those individuals. And Q says, think logically. Ask yourself, is this normal? No, guys, look. It's not normal that all of these people were fired or were forced to step down. These are high-ranking officials. These are officials who are being implicated through these ongoing investigations that are going on under the good guys' watch, like Jeff Sessions and those in the Department of Justice, John Huber and Michael Horowitz. They're actually objectively doing an investigation, as opposed to what happened with the Hillary investigation, where Peter Strzok just went in and said, no, you're not guilty of anything. Don't worry. We don't have to worry about all this. We'll sweep it all under the rug for you. Because we hate Trump just as much as you do, Madam President, that never came to be. So is it a conspiracy? I mean, look, I don't have all the answers here. I don't have every shred of evidence. I don't have access to the files that Michael Horowitz is going through, the Inspector General, or the access to what John Huber is putting together and what the sealed indictments say, any of that. But I can tell you that we're getting enough information from Q here to put together some simple facts that would lead us to believe there's a lot more going on. And then this facts continually get verified in the news. And then the news turns around and calls us all conspiracy theorist nut jobs. As we are in the process of being, affirmed through news and Q's posts from previous, proving the future proves past type scenario. Anyway, again, gives us another list, and think logically. Think logically. Ask yourself: is this normal? Conspiracy, and what is that? Well, that is this list of people who are not seeking re-election. I wonder why they're not seeking re-election. And then it gives the whole long list here. I'm not going to read through it all, but it has like people like Paul Ryan on there, and Bob Goodlatte. I mean, these people are not seeking re-election, right? And it's saying, plus the DOJ, plus the FBI, plus CEOs, conspiracy, nothing happening. Goodlatte and Gowdy, important. Chairman of the House Committee on the Judiciary and the chair of the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, talking about Schneiderman, the New York Attorney General resignation. And it's just wanting us to connect all the dots here, right? And to put it all together. And it's fairly easy to put together, really. If you're thinking logically and you're not presuming a hardcore bias against people who ask questions, as Q does, you slowly but surely will draw yourself to the conclusion that the FBI was full of corrupt people at the top, not the rank and file, very good people and family-oriented, godly people, I'm sure, working there. Or DOJ, same thing. The top was corrupt. Goes into Congress. That's the swamp. Special interest groups, all that. But then, what happened in the DNC? What happened with these emails? What happened with this email investigation? What happened to Seth Rich? These questions need to be answered, and they're formally, I think that they're being investigated right now. I choose to believe that, but that's just my personal belief. And we're going to get to the bottom of it, so you guys just stick around. Here's a great one. An ANON post here in the next one. The ANON says, please do not let No Name off the hook. He is a disgrace to veterans across this great country and needs to be held accountable. For those of you who don't know who No Name is, I don't like to say his name often, but it is John McCain. So it's saying, they call him that and they say No Name, and then Q actually responds to saying, think Supreme Court vote to confirm coming. No name action. Every dog has its day. Enjoy the show. Q. So sometimes SC means special counsel. And in this scenario, I think it means Supreme Court. They're going to have Anthony Kennedy has stepped down, officially announced his resignation as of July 31st. And in that time, President Trump has to find a replacement and get the nominee through the process of confirmation, which is, it involves, I believe, a House and a Senate vote, or actually it might just be a Senate vote, but it's a Senate confirmation. So that means you have 100 senators who have to vote whether, to bring this person in as a confirmation or not. Now, the nuclear option was employed in the last one with Gorsuch, where instead of needing a 60 to 40 vote, where you need 60 votes of the 100, they put it down to 51, which we do control. But it's going to be tricky because two of the Republicans are kind of basically rhinos. I mean, there's a few more rhinos, if you ask me, but they're hardcore rhinos, and they don't, they believe in abortion, which is sick. I'm fervently against it, and you can have your own opinion, but it's my choice to believe that institutes killing or taking life. So you guys do with that as you may. That's the big heated, contentious point for the Supreme Court nomination coming up, because there's just this crazy left group that says that we're taking away women's rights. And look, you can believe what you want about your rights, but the baby in your stomach has its rights too. And Planned Parenthood has, in my opinion, committed basic genocide of countless babies having their lives taken from them, which is sick. And there you go. Next one, an ANON. Yeah, so enjoy the show, right? I'm sure you guys will let me know what you think in the comments about my views. But I choose to stick by them, and I don't back down from that belief in the least bit. But it says, "Go Gowdy," an ANON post, and Q responds, "It will not be Gowdy, Q." So the Supreme Court will not be Gowdy. Sorry to let everybody down. I even thought myself it could be, but it makes sense. Gowdy would be a tough sell for anyone, really, especially on the left, because it wouldn't be a tough sell for the Republicans, but to get anybody on the Democratic side to even look at him would be, tough. And there's even some rhinos who would certainly oppose Trey Gowdy. But okay, so it's not going to be Trey Gowdy. That was good. Thank you, Q, for clearing that up. Now, the next one. Like we talked about with this Antifa, these wonderfully nice and just incredibly wonderful people. I'm saying that sarcastically, obviously. That here's the thing. So Q points out that their little symbol here, their little patch or insignia, whatever you want to call it, it's called Anti-Fascist Action. It's got these two flags waving, and it's kind of a circle. And that's their 2017 parliamentary wing of the Democratic Party of America, right? Or paramilitary wing, excuse me. And the paramilitary wing of the Communist Party of Germany looks exactly the same and even uses the same phrase in a different language. So we should all be very concerned, because I don't want this country to become communist, and just as much as I don't want it to become socialist, just as much as I don't want it to become a dictatorship or a fascist regime. Guys, get on board here. You're wasting all this time calling President Trump a fascist and calling his supporters racist and trying to start riots in the streets, that you're failing to see the bigger picture. The fleecing of America by corporately bought politicians, and then the selling of special access information to foreign entities. And while we're over here spinning our wheels trying to figure out how to get you guys to calm down and not be nut jobs, which most of you are mentally disturbed, in my opinion, you guys, it just goes right over your head. You don't care. It's go and attack us because we have speech. Why are you attacking our free speech? Why aren't you attacking, or why aren't you just engaging in thoughtful discussion instead of attacking? How about that? I'm never going to get it, and I'm sure I'm going to take some heat from whoever the trolls are out there. But look, this is the truth, guys. Look what we're up against. We're up against these people who, they've categorically, in my mind, been misled, and it's sad. And we have to reach out to the other side. We can't fight fire with fire. We have to do it correctly. We have to do the right thing. Our job is not to create a civil disturbance in our country and to go out and to target people. Our job is to have conversations, to remember that we're all Americans, to remember that being in America means something. And when you take away the borders and you take away law enforcement, you take away the government, and you take it all away as they want and just have pure anarchy rule the day, you lose what makes America America, what makes the United States the greatest country in the world. And they fail to see that, and it's sad. I really want them to come to to come to the table to talk, to not focus on violence, to not focus on the civil discourse of targeting your political rivals with violent attacks. That is deplorable. Those are the true deplorables. People who do that, and they think they're fighting this cause, But in the media, they make a good point. I mean, a lot of people who are kind of rational make the point, saying, look, if you run a news story all day that says that Trump administration's a bunch of Nazis, which I've heard basically on a dozen different outlets, where people are allowed to get up there and say that President Trump's acting like a Nazi, then it gives these people that gives them the go-ahead to do whatever they want. That means by all means necessary, because they're fighting actual Nazis in their mind. But we're not. No one is. There are no Nazis. There might be like a few sparsely across America who, are trying to incite hate, but there's just not some global or the reemergence of Nazis in our country. It's crazy. Anyway, there's another rant for you. Hope you guys are enjoying this. ICE executes its mission through the enforcement of more than 400 federal statutes and focuses on smart immigration enforcement, preventing terrorism, and combating the illegal movement of people and trade. Boom. Abolish ICE? Hashtag goodbye Democrats. Q. And then it just gives a link to the ICE website where, look at what they're doing. Just a few days ago, they go into New York. They arrested 36 darknet vendors selling illicit goods, weapons, and drugs, and seized more than $23.6 million. Oh, but we need to get rid of them because we want the darknet vendors to be able to do whatever they want. We're removing human rights violators. I mean, we're trying to prevent some of the sickest crimes in the world. So look, the argument against ICE is weak. I don't think that there's any reason that they should be abolished. And it's like, what are you going to do? You abolish it, then you're going to have to replace it with another law enforcement agency. You know that, right? Because there has to be some way to enforce immigration law. So, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Now, what a coincidence, Q says. Senator Tim Scott plans to recommend Trey Gowdy for Supreme Court. Well, interesting. So, Tim Scott has been a pretty big Trump supporter for quite some time. And lo and behold, yesterday, he actually announces that he's going to recommend Trey Gowdy for the Supreme Court. Good. And Q's going to explain how this correlates because Q told us before he's not going to get nominated. But what Q basically says in a later post is that making the list, that list of 25 people, is big enough in and of itself. So keep that in mind. Because we will have to replace RBG soon, I'm hoping, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But hopefully she steps down. I don't mean that any other way. I just hope that she steps down and realizes that it's time to let another judge get up there. That's it. Nothing crazy. So here's another one. And that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to really get into that. But cool. Tim Scott, great job. Thank you. Now, the next one is this Washington Times article. And it's actually interesting because the Washington Times points to the fact that the NSA has announced that it deleted more than 685 million call records due to technical irregularities. And good. Right now, everything you do is kept. Don't believe this really. I don't believe this really means anything because they said basically they had a technical irregularity that forced them to remove the 685 million call records. And people were really worried on the boards that by removing those call records that they, did they throw away the evidence they had on Hillary? Did they throw away the evidence they had on the people who have committed the crimes? Well, Q lets us know that's not the case. But we'll read what Q has to say. But this guy, the ANON, whoever it is, says NSA deleted 685 million call records. Q, did that include HRC, McCabe, Stroke, Page, Rosenstein calls? Drain the NSA. Then Q says, the interesting response, you delete what you no longer need, you save what you do need, Q. So I think that is twofold is a good thing. First of all, getting that information out of the NSA, if they're just dragnet getting 685 million phone calls or phone records or whatever, then yeah, okay, let's go ahead and get rid of that because the information is not going anywhere. Now it's been kind of decided ever since Edward Snowden came out that the information that the NSA would go and obtain is now kept at the private corporations. So I don't know how much better that makes me feel to know that Google's holding that or whoever, Verizon or whatever, are holding that information. But that is interesting to me that they got rid of it because it just proves that hopefully they're doing what they've said they want to do, which is make the NSA what it's intended for. It's a national security agency. It's not the national spy agency on us, spy on America, agency, NSAA. No, it's not that. I mean, granted, they're going to have to observe certain things to provide for our protection, but more overly, we don't want the dragnet. We don't want everything being picked up. Now, in certain circumstances here, we're kind of glad it happened because that's how we got the HRC emails. That's how we got the McCabe Stroke texts and Stroke Page texts. I believe that's how all of that information was retained. And that is a lot of that information hasn't even been allowed to be shown yet. So that's what I think. You guys let me know what you think. Now, the next one. So then an ANON here posts, but you just said it will not be Gowdy. And Q says, being on the list does not equate to receiving the nomination. Q. Yeah, exactly. So if he gets put on the list, it's a good thing. And then Q responds to his own post saying, make no mistake, Representative Gowdy is a patriot, Q. And I've always suspected that. And I've never been one who jumped on the anti-Trey Gowdy train. There's a lot of people who jumped on these weird trains going off on people who were seemingly fighting for us here, what we were trying to uncover. And they really were effectively actually being our representation in Congress, which is a very refreshing thing compared to some of the other representatives and who they choose to represent in their constituency. But what's interesting is that it's saying Trey Gowdy's a patriot. Representative Gowdy. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Not a bit. Next one. Q says, do you feel the emotion anger this writer has? And it's this Business Insider article, which is basically a pretty hard hit. It's not well thought out. You can tell that the writing is lowbrow with no real complexity. He disproves something that really was an easy thing to disprove. It was this theory about neo-Nazism in a DHS release. But then he ties it into how people would fall for that. That is how they fall for QAnon, right? And then this writer, he writes about how people love conspiracy nonsense that confirms their worst priors about their political opponents. And it's like, oh, okay. And you start reading it, and it's like, Oh, I see. Because this, all you need to do is read the one statement where it says Trump fans came to believe John Podesta was involved in a pedophile ring run out of a pizzeria and that the DNC murdered Seth Rich. Okay. And he says, note, neither of these are true. All right. Well, I just have a little conjecture for this individual. Let me just say that your article is completely misinformed when it comes to what we believe happened between John Podesta and pizza. It has nothing to do with the pizzeria itself. It has to do with code language used describing pizza and other things in emails that were completely contextually unable to explain the use of the weird phraseology. And what happened with Seth Rich and the DNC is still under investigation, I would say. They may have closed the investigation into his death, but it's still being investigated, and we're being given clues to say that there could be something more there. But yeah, you're right. That is not true yet. And of course, it's not true that John Podesta was running a pedophile ring out of a pizzeria. No, no, no. We're talking about pedogate. It's so much bigger than that. And this guy just doesn't know what he's talking about. But it's great because we want to let these people show who they are and give us exactly what they believe. And then he chastises people who believed a fake CNN Politics tweet that said that Maxine Waters would have an illegal immigrant be the Supreme Court justice. I saw that thing. I knew the thing was fake within 2 seconds. First of all, you can be even low IQ Maxine isn't that dumb. Okay, let's just put it that way. And not only that, it's just their attempt to get the gullible out there and to basically turn around on them and say, look, you were wrong about that, therefore you're wrong about everything you've ever said. That in and of itself is what they're basically doing here. Saying conspiracy politics is fun, but stupid and self-defeating. Unless the conspiracies turn out to be true. Yeah, then they would be quite important, and they would not be self-defeating at all. They would be serving a greater purpose, which is making America great again. But he talks about all these different things going on. It's just it's fantastical. But you can tell the bias in the piece. He's obviously upset. He's shaken, and I wonder why. Oh well, here he is, Josh Barrow. How are you? He's the senior editor for Business Insider, where he writes commentary on politics, business, and the economy. Yeah, big man there. Good job you got, I'm sure. But before that, he was part of the New York Times. Oh, the failing New York Times, one of their former lackeys now running Business Insider. Okay, I see exactly what's going on here. Oh, and he's a contributor to MSNBC. Oh, wow. This all makes a lot of sense. Good luck to you, sir. You're on the wrong side of this, and history will prove that. So it says, the next one here is an article on Snopes where they talk about these billboards, these cute billboards that go up. And the whole article here is basically an attempt to try to dox the companies that put these billboards up. It links to their websites. And I don't mean to share that, but look, that's what Q's saying they're doing, and that's the truth. It says doxing. First of all, talking about the article we looked at before, do you feel the emotion and anger this writer has? Read the article for yourself. If you want to go find it, it's on Business Insider. It's probably one of the latest articles. It was just put up a couple days ago. It says, get a grip, or put up an hour ago. Get a grip, people. Your conspiracy-minded impulses are making you look stupid. No, Josh Barrow, your writing is making you look stupid, unfortunately. And it says doxing the billboard owners, and that's what they're doing. These people who are putting up the billboards. It says they're scared of you. Nothing is more powerful than the public being awake and collectively free thinking, talking, etc. Stay united, Q. This is why this channel is so important. This is why everyone who does this kind of work is so important. We all are free thinking. We're talking about it. We're getting the information out there, and that's what's most important. Now, the next one, for the sake of time, I'm going to try to speed it up here. The next one talks about this. Gives us this graphic of sealed indictments, but since Q started posting to now. Interesting. Good tracking. Ask yourself, is this normal? This is bigger than people can possibly imagine. Nothing being done? Q. So people want to say Q isn't doing anything, nothing's being done. This shows, okay, you can see here, it says sealed indictments from October 30th, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. So what's interesting to take away from this is that there are a lot, and it goes through each state, each different district of the state, and where how many sealed indictments exist in each one of those districts. Here are some important things. Total filed in that time period are 40,000 around 5,000 sealed indictments per month. Now, how many are normal? It says here at the bottom of the document, 1,077 in all of 2006 to 2009. So in all of that 3-year period, 2006 to 2009, they only had 1,000 sealed indictments. Since Q started posting, shortly after President Trump became the president of the United States, since that happened, we have had 40,483 sealed indictments. 5 times the number that occurred in the span of 3 years between 2006 and 2009. 5 times that number a month. Okay? So just think about that. And it says, here's an important fact as well. The number represents new sealed court proceedings filed in the U.S. federal district criminal courts during the periods listed and include criminal charges and search warrants. Some of them have been unsealed or removed. But still, guys, look at these numbers. And you say Q's, and the people out there, some people go, oh, Q's not doing anything. Nothing's happening. Well, there's your proof. Q's saying good tracking. Is it normal? No. Again, this is bigger than we can possibly imagine. There's so many people who are under indictment, it would seem, sealed indictment, that it's unfathomable. And the whole thing about sealed indictments is that they're sealed. That information cannot be leaked. It can't come out. I mean, it could, but they don't want that. And you know, it would undermine the cases that we're putting together against these individuals. Is nothing being done? No, everything is being done. Just we can't tell you all about it at the same time because, I mean, there has to be some, integrity to the way the investigation is put out. Now, Q responds to his own post, the one we just went over, saying, ask yourself, who is filing the indictments? It would take a very large team to work this quickly. Who has that kind of manpower? 470. Oh, well, 470 we know is the amount of people who are at the disposal of John Huber, who is the U.S. attorney who's working with Inspector General Michael Horowitz. They have 470 investigators. So that's what that is saying. And then gives a link to this Breitbart article. We've gone over it 1,000 times and read it very slowly and carefully. We've read it very slowly and carefully. It basically says second special counsel would be a very, very bad move because it would take more years to figure out anything and then nothing would end up happening. It's better to use Inspector General Horowitz working with the U.S. Attorney John Huber so that they can bring indictments bring indictments through grand jury. And that's just basically it based off of their investigation that's been going on for months now. And that's basically everything that you need to know about that. Now, the next one, Q says, ask yourself, does Huber have the ability to file across all 50 states? Is any of this normal? Think sealed indictments, think resignations of CEOs, think resignations of senators, think resignations of Congress, think termination of senior FBI, think termination of senior DOJ, media blackout, midterms punt, all or nothing, race. Would a second special counsel take years to complete? Would a second special counsel be based in corrupt DC? Would the grand jury be members of the DC community? What percentage of DC voted for Hillary? How large is Mueller's team? 20 to 25? Think 470. The more you know, Q. So a lot of this goes back to everything that we've been talking about. First, Huber does have the ability to file indictments, to impanel grand juries and file an indictment across all 50 states. That's not normal, but it's necessary because of the sealed indictments that have to be unsealed. Q tells us to look at the people who are resigning from positions of power, like Eric Schmidt from Google and others, senators who are resigning, congressmen who are resigning, the whole top brass at the FBI being basically put under magnifying glass after having found out about their corruption, and then them being subsequently terminated, and members of the DOJ the same thing, terminated. The media won't cover it closely. They'll cover it in their little pieces here and there, but for the most part they ignore it or they try to turn it into a political witch hunt that Trump's out to get his political opponents, which is not true. Just want the equal application of law for everyone. Midterms punt, this is their big punt. They all or nothing. It's a race for them. They have to regain that majority in the House of Representatives so they can impeach President Trump and keep this special counsel going as long as they can to divert people away from the truth and divert people away from the crimes that they themselves are more likely than not guilty of. And it's saying Would a second special counsel take years to complete? Yes. Would a second special counsel be based in corrupt DC? Yes. Would the grand jury be members of the DC community? Yes. What percentage of DC voted for Hillary? Oh, I mean, let's look at it. 90% of people in Washington D.C. voted for Hillary. So you think that you're going to get a fair trial there? I'm not 100% on that one, to be quite frank. And it's saying, how large is Mueller's team? Well, it's only 20 to 25 people. Think 470. That's the team that Huber and Horowitz have. The more you know, Q. So the suggestion is more investigators are going to do more work, and that'll expose the truth. Now, the next one, as we wrap up here, because we've got a long video going here, it says, looking at the numbers, and this is an ANON, looking at the numbers, it doesn't seem to be slowing down or wrapping up either. Q says, think stages. What role can military intelligence play? What role can NSA play? Bang, Q. Listen, what they're saying here is Q is coming out and saying, look, military intelligence has the role, and they're setting a stage. It's been, and the NSA has helped set the stage. But we, the people, have to work together with them in tandem to help just expose the truth, because we got to get this out. It would be okay if it was just regular criminals in society, but these are not just regular criminals. These are people who are being accused of crimes, who have positions of great power in our country, in our government, in our law enforcement, in our justice system. So this is why we must look to military intelligence, why we must ask the NSA to help. We need their help. Listen, not everyone's perfect, and there's always going to be people in places who don't do what's right. But for the most part, these people are doing what is right by our country, which is what they are sworn to do. So, in effect, we need to trust them in order to be able to expose the crimes that have been committed by those who have held power for so long. And they don't want to let go of that power, and they're actively fighting against us. So we need to be aware of this. And this is going to be a big story from here, I think, for a long time to come, because we cover the truth, and we're going to expose this truth. And one day, I know that we will be vindicated for what we've done here is truly a part of the work of a patriot. So that's that. And then the next one is a Washington Times article, which I thought was great. You know, the Washington Times, great job. You actually got a good article right for once. I'm joking. You know, the different writers have different opinions. I know that. But this is an article actually written by L. Todd Wood from the Washington Times, where he says, America really did have a Manchurian candidate in the White House. And it's a pretty great article. It actually just kind of quickly, it talks about how President Obama was basically a Manchurian candidate if you look at the numbers. And you look at what happened during the calamitous, as the writer says here, the calamitous consequences of the Obama presidency will be felt for the foreseeable future. I mean, all of the things that we're pointing out now. Yeah, it was great. Obama had the greatest week ever. Yeah, man. No. He had the worst administration in the history of presidents, in my opinion. And he'll get on a stage and say, my opponents want you to think I had the worst administration ever. I thought it was pretty good. No, it was wrong. And excuse my impersonations if they're completely awful. But look, there's too much to cover. Read this story for yourself. It's Washington Times. You can find America really did have a Manchurian candidate in the White House, and it was released today. So if you guys want to read that, go find it. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot that went wrong. And then it's all getting blamed on Trump. See, that's the thing. It's funny because you watch the evolution of everything. You start off with Bill Clinton, right? And then everything was great. And then President Bush takes office and everything goes to, you know what? Bill Clinton, everything wasn't great, but everyone thought it was great, right? And then it goes to Bush and it goes all the heck in a handbasket. And then President Obama gets elected. And then his whole 8 years is basically saying, I was given a mess by President Bush. What do you want me to do? And then in the meantime of him saying that, he was basically just running our country into the ground. And at the same time trying to tell us that everything's great because he got a few Supreme Court decisions to allow things that he wants to be legal. I'm not even going to get into that. And other things, not many other things, trust me. Not just that one issue I'm not taking issue on one thing. I'm just saying that there were so many things that they painted as these big victories for President Obama, when in reality, the underlying facts behind his presidency, the underlying statistics would suggest that he had one of the worst presidencies for our country as a whole. And now President Trump has gone and saved us basically by stepping in and just doing what's right for our country. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you all for watching. That's pretty much it. We got a few more things to cover. You guys stick around. If you're looking for a way to help the channel out, the best way to do it is to come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button. If you have not clicked it already, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. Helps me out big time. It's free for you, and it helps me out more than you guys will ever know. Come here and hit that button if you want to help out the channel. Now, another way is to scroll down at the end of this video and read through the Q posts and read through the comments and leave your own comments. Leave your thoughts, theories, and insights in the comments because, like I say, we try to have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos. Now, again, if you don't know what QAnon is and you've watched this whole video and you're scratching your head going, what's QAnon? Watch this video right here. It's going to explain basically what the QAnon and the Great Awakening are. And also, if you're interested in catching up to where we are, watch these last few videos because you're going to get a lot of information here. And it's going to catch you up to the latest Q posts if you want to get, informed to now. And you can go back and watch them as many as you want going back because there's just a lot of useful information in there. Now, if you're looking to help the channel out another way, I would encourage you guys to come over here to Twitter and come check out my Twitter page at Justin_formed, at Justin_formed. And what you can do when you come here is you can check out my posts. You can hit the follow button. I could use all the followers I can, so come and hit that button. It helps out over here as well. But if you're looking to help, we got a couple things going on right now. I'm in talks with this. I'm so thankful. I have such the best people watching these shows, but I've been contacted by a few people. But I'm not going to give any details away about this website. But you guys can go to GoFundMe.com/JustinFormTalk or come here and click this link right here. And we're trying to raise money to get the JustinFormNews.com, our official website for Just Informed Talk, up and running. In that time, I want you guys to know that a lot of work's being done, a lot of progress is being made, and all of your contributions have gone to help so much to those ends that I thank you. And another way, if you're looking to help the channel financially, is to come over here, Patreon, Patreon.com. It's how I keep the channel running all the time. Never have to worry about YouTube censoring or demonetize, all that stuff. I can always know that I can do this 24/7, 365 for you guys if I have you guys help and support me on Patreon. So come to patreon.com, Patreon.com, search Just Informed Talk, come to this landing page, click this button, check out my rewards and goals, and I thank you in advance for checking that out. Now, another thing I want to talk about very quickly is I got a surprise for you guys. Actually, good news. The American Priority Conference. I'm very excited to be participating at it. And we've talked about this before. And what's going on here is we're going to have so many great people. It's going to be like Roger Stone and Ann Coulter and Jack Posobiec, Mike Cernovich, Lee Stranahan, Matt Couch, Laura Loomer. I mean, we're talking about, and that's just the scratch on the surface. There's going to be so many great, cool people there, and myself included. I've been asked to join and sit on a panel there where you guys will be able to ask questions and we'll be able to meet and talk and have a discussion. So that's cool. But another cool thing is I was given a discount code to share with you guys. So if you want to attend the conference and you want to come meet me and a bunch of other great people, I actually have a discount for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to americanpriority.com/attend and you're going to use the code WWG, the number 1, WGA, as in where we go one, we go all, because this conference is about the American people. It's about freedom. It's about justice. It's about the freedom of thought, the freedom of information, and that's what we're going to exercise there. So if you guys want to do it, go to americanpriority.com/attend, and when you are buying your ticket, use the coupon code WWG1WGA. WWG1WGA. Okay, so if you guys want to do that, and you're going to attend the conference and you want to get a few bucks off, I certainly encourage you to go do that. Now, before we go, I want to talk about the most important thing. We're going to talk about God's grace and why it is greater and why God is the most important thing in all of this, no matter what we do. And today's a beautiful day to talk about it. I love sharing scripture and verse and talking to you guys about God on Sunday because it's just a great day. It feels right. So This is a reading from Lamentations, chapter 3, verses 22 to 33. And I want to talk about this because it gives great insight into how the Lord works and how he works for us and how he should work in our own souls. So I want to read these wonderful words with you. It says, "The steadfast love of your Lord, or of the Lord, never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Lord is my portion, or the Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul that seeks him. It is good that one should wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for one to bear the yoke in youth, to sit alone in silence when the Lord has imposed it, to put one's mouth to dust. There may yet be hope, to give one's cheek to the smiter, and be filled with insults. For the Lord will not reject forever. Although he causes grief, he will have compassion according to the abundance of his steadfast love, for he does not willingly afflict or grieve anyone." Remember that, guys. Listen, like all this stuff we talked about today with the Antifa, and they're trying to get us going, and these reporters who want to, call us names. Remember what the Lord says here. It says, sometimes we have to sit alone in silence when the Lord has imposed it, meaning sometimes we're going to have to go through some stuff. Sometimes we're going to have to put one's mouth to the dust, as in get knocked down maybe. But that there is still hope in our ability to turn to, it says, to give one cheek to the smiter, meaning don't be afraid of what they bring, because it's only going to expose them for evil. And it says that the Lord will not reject forever. So it's not a forever thing. These people, it'll all come and pass, because the truth and God's love and grace is what will remain when it's all said and done. And we'll know what the truth is. And it says, although the Lord causes grief, or although he causes grief, he will have compassion according to the abundance of his steadfast love. Wow. So just remember that even though we go through grief, there is steadfast love that exists in abundance, and that God will save you as long as your steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. So I hope that those words really connect to you guys and let you know that God loves you and that you are special and that you are saved, that Jesus died on the cross for your sins and you have eternal life. And all you have to do to start that is to start with a prayer, go to church, live through Christ and live in Christ. Ask him every day for his guidance and wisdom, and you will be set. But that's going to be it for this episode. I want to say thank you all for watching. Again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, now's a great time to do it. Come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button. It helps me out big time. But that's going to be it. Thank you all for sticking around if you made it to the end here. This has been Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.